All right, welcome back to our first ever episode of reactions from me. I also have with me my editor on the line, and I also have the famous Nicole that you guys love oh so much. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reacting to some of the most craziest videos that we have on the channel, and then being able to offer some behind the scenes scoop of the video, and then we're also going to be talking about or reviewing some of the most popular comments and maybe some of the least popular comments. I don't know, but I'm going into this video blind. They know what's up. I don't. They have comments picked out. They just picked out the video. What is the name of the video, or should I just watch it and figure it out?
I would say just watch it. It makes it a little bit more
All
fun.
right, so I'm gonna just watch the video. I don't. I have my laptop in front of me, but we are on a program called Discord where Noah, the editor, is screen sharing, so that way I'm watching the video for the first time, and then we're gonna get into it. So, without further ado, if you guys like this segment, make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment down below, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're almost at 50,000 subs. I'm so excited. I know you guys are too. It's been a long road. It's been a long journey, but I figure by this time next month we should be at 1 million. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Let me go ahead and minimize this screen really quick. Let me go ahead and make this screen full size, and I can't even see, like, I can see the screen, but I can't see any titles or anything like that. So it's still kind of early for me. So I got my cup of Dunkin'. Team, whenever we're ready, let's cue up the video.
All right. Starting with the intro here, and then we'll just jump right into it.
Make sure the volume's up.
All right. Let's get started. You can see it, right?
Yep.
All right. Cool. Let's do it.
Not even the depths of hell could have forged a diamond this special.
All right, y'all, we're back. I got Peterson here, getting his training in. I know it seems like I might be giving him all the hard deliveries, but I assure you, they're not the hardest. You should start from the back, work your way to the front. Watch out for that truck.
So right off the bat, Mike, I've noticed that you mentioned how you're giving Peterson some harder deliveries. You want to just take a second and explain why you're doing that, and if there's any sort of advantage to doing that with new recruits.
So very long story short, the time that recruits and trainees have with me is very limited. So in this particular case, this trainee ended up missing a couple days. He had some personal things going on that didn't really allow for him to show up for the full uninterrupted 2 weeks of training. Now, typically our training is about 2 to 3 weeks, but it also depends on the driver, the amount of experience that they got. Uh, this gentleman, fresh out of school, was exactly that, fresh out of school. So I'm trying to milk the clock and milk every second that I have with him, and also make up for lost time. So I did notice in some of the other comments that on some of the other videos that sorry about that, that I was being too hard on him, and I'm like, considering like that I barely got any training, like fresh out of school. I was pretty much thrown to the wolves, and I pretty much taught myself a lot of what I knew. I would say the better part of 90% I learned as I went. So I didn't want to set up this guy or any future people for failures. So that's why we're letting this guy get as much hands-on experience as possible, and then dealing with all these different situations and scenarios, and just taking like a supervisory step back away and just watching at a distance to see what he does and then correct him as he goes.
All right, that makes sense. So let's jump back in.
How you doing, bud?
Oh wait, this is the video with the old man. All right, cool. That makes sense. Yeah, go for it.
Do you mind if I record the delivery? Do you mind if I record the delivery? Yeah. It's on my camera. If not, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, I saw some composite decking. I see some pressure treated lumber, and then I see some boxes on the end, which that typically, in my experience, that's like hardware. So I'm not sure if it's all there, but that's all they gave us. Yeah, the manifest is
Yep. Yep. So this gentleman is saying how you have the manifest for the truck. Now you go on to mention how sometimes it's not always accurate. Can you just give us a little bit of insight as to why that is and what causes that?
Yeah. So, for instance, I actually found one of the old bills of lading. Trying to um, trying to pull it up here. Whereas, hold on, let me pull up my OBS system so that you guys can see. Like, for instance, here, this is an old bill of lading. More specifically, it says pellet fuel, and then it says quantity ordered 1, and then quantity delivered 0. So this is like the most basic common problem that we come across, where it's like it doesn't get much simpler than that. The customer ordered 1 skid of pellet fuel, but on the paperwork and on the manifest, it doesn't really show it. And
Right.
it doesn't really show what they. It doesn't really show what the store uh, is fulfilling. And so when customers ask me, what are you delivering? I let them know, like, what you see is all that I have. And then they'll ask me, is is everything there? And then, I let them know this is all they gave me. Because you have to be very specific when you answer the questions posed by the customers, because not all the time are you going to know exactly what's on your truck. I mean, for reference, you guys can see right there that quantity ordered is 1, quantity delivered is 0, but I can assure you I delivered 1 ton of pellet fuel. So it's kind of one of those things where it's a gray area, and we knew that we as drivers knew it needed to be addressed. It's just they never take the time out to address it. So let me.
And then on top of that, these customers are asking you, is that everything? You don't know what their entire order is. You could be making a partial delivery, and in their mind, they're saying, is this absolutely everything I ordered that day? And there's no way for you to know that.
Yeah, that's one of the other issues that we had, is that a lot of times it wasn't expressed to the customer that their load was coming on multiple different trucks on multiple different days. So when we get approached by customers asking, hey, is my order all here? I always give them the most nonchalant answer, and my most nonchalant answer is this is all that they gave me. It's nonchalant, it's direct, but it's also the most accurate information that I have at that time. So, did I see anything else at the store that had their name on it? Most likely not. And if there was an issue with pallet space count, because our trailers can only hold a certain number of pallet spaces, then we would get into the issue. We would get into the issue with, did their entire order fit on the truck or not, and if not, was it due to pallet space issues? For instance, let's say this gentleman ordered 16-foot decking, and one pallet space is 4 feet by 4 feet. That's 4 pallet spaces. Let's say, the shipper only reserved 2 pallet spaces. Now I can only take maybe the 8-footers that were on that load because they didn't slate it correctly for 16s. So,
Right.
there's a lot of gray area with that.
And as we always famously say here on the channel, I mean, we're just a third-party delivery service. So really, it's the shipper's or the store's responsibility to make sure the customer's product that they ordered is, on your truck. What goes on your truck is, it's what's on your truck. You don't really have a big say in that. It's their job to make sure they have the product they need when they need it.
Exactly.
But another point I just want to touch on really quick before we continue is there any specific reason why you opted to get this gentleman blurred?
Because he doesn't specifically understand what a camera, like, to me it seems like he doesn't know what YouTube is. He doesn't know what the actual purpose of the recording is. So that's why I opted to have his face blurred, because if you don't really understand what's going on, and even though we're doing it for training purposes, we're doing it to teach people what we do and how we do things, and a whole scope of different scenarios that we broadcast. It doesn't seem like this guy is the most up to date guy on technology, so that's why I took the time to make sure that I expressed to Noah, the editor, that
Which is me.
that we needed this guy's face because he doesn't quite understand what's going on, and we don't really know what's going to happen before we show up. That's why we start recording the deliveries before we even show up on site. So if we have any issues, we can always blur later. So yeah.
Well, I think our viewers really love this video, so let's just be glad he consented to you filming, and we had the option to blur him out to protect his identity.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree with that. All right. With that said, let's jump back in.
I'm sorry?
You have to manifest of what's on that truck.
It's almost never accurate. I can guarantee you that, because we don't work for a third party delivery service. So it's kind of like when you order something online or your cousin sends you a package, the mailman doesn't know what's in the package. You understand?
Yeah, but if I have 2 pieces, I should have 2 pieces.
Yep, I got
I
you.
like
So
how
I
he
mean, we
was
can
holding
give you
up
a
3 fingers at first.
we can give you the paper. And,
That's a really good point. All right, let's keep going
I
here.
had 2 pieces. I should have 2 pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it going.
we just encourage you to call the store. All right. If it goes through here, it's probably not going to fit. You have 16 feet. It comes off like wings on an airplane. So the closest
You're gonna have to take it back, because I'm not gonna have you deliver it here. They have to run back and forth with all the pieces.
All right. So then
Cement truck right here, come all the way back to here.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. The material is 16 feet long, so it comes off like wings on an airplane.
We're gonna have to do
All right, so you want to move a truck or something? We could leave it like right here, or maybe up against the lawn or something for you.
Nope, you gotta bring it back here. If you're not gonna bring it back here, then don't deliver it.
Okay, then no problem. I'll just tell them to stop wrapping it up then.
All right, so that's a pretty interesting scene there. So what's happening is you're offering to place this gentleman 16-foot boards at the grass line right behind where the camera is right now, or on the other side of the driveway or something like that. And obviously, this gentleman is not satisfied with that. So can you just tell us what was going through your head at this time, like what kind of plans you were formulating, and just generally what your thoughts are during that moment?
All right, so what a lot of our viewers don't understand is that our job is a curbside delivery. So right at the top of the driveway, right where the mailbox is, I understand some people are like, "Oh, the state, the city, the town, whomever might own that, and we don't have the authority to leave it on the curbside." It's kind of like one of those gray areas again. Actually, the customer paid to have it left curbside. So, but to skip all of that nonsense, we were willing to bring it down the driveway, as we are almost every single delivery, unless there's an obstacle, there's a site restriction, there's a liability issue, there's a safety issue, something like that that prohibits us from going above and beyond.
Right, which is generally your overall model that we go with, is we try to accommodate as much as we can
as much as
and
we can,
do the most we
within
can.
reason. So
Right.
the gentleman telling me in the video that if we can't get it past the trees and past the house to deliver it to deliver the goods past the house and into the backyard, that if it doesn't fit, he doesn't want it, that's not really a reason to refuse the delivery, because technically the gentleman paid for it to be left curbside. Now, if you guys are looking at the screen directly adjacent to his silver Jeep there, in that cutout in the driveway, normally we would leave goods there on a normal circumstance, but since he had a pickup truck that was off screen now, that was kind of out of that wasn't really an option. So then we offered to leave it right where I was standing, and we even asked him if he wanted to take the time to move a truck out of the way, and he had his mindset on getting it down that little alley right down next to his house, which with 16 footers we weren't going to attempt or be able to get them done successfully. So you can, if you were to rewind the video just a little bit,
Yep. A little bit more.
right there, perfect, right there. So if you look, and we can add this in. If you look at the dead spots on his grass, you can kind of see where a regular vehicle's tire marks have been numerous times. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So a regular pickup truck or a regular car only has a wheel span. Only has a width of about 6 to 7 feet, maybe, if that. I can tell just by looking at this, that being the width of a vehicle, that my Moffat tires are going to be wider than the tire marks that are already in the lawn. That's number one. And number two, the material comes off like wings on an airplane. So if my forklift is 8.5 feet wide, the material is 16. So if I'm holding the material in the middle of the deck boards, the middle of that decking material is going to be 8 feet. Now, that means you're going to have 4 extra feet on the right, 4 extra feet on the left to make a solid 16 feet. So if you want to go ahead, play the video a little bit, you can hear where he says if you're not gonna get it down here, then you can just bring it back, or he's gonna refuse to load or something.
Right, and right before we play that, it's another really quick note that's important is it's the customer's responsibility to transport or transfer the product from the designated drop-off location to where they need it. You have no say in that; it's not part of what you do. But with that said, let's rewind a little bit and let's play that scene over again.
Airplane. Yeah, then.
Cement truck right here, come all the way back to here.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The material is 16 feet long, so it comes off like wings on an airplane.
Oh, then we're gonna have to do something different then.
All right, so you want to move a truck or something? We could leave it like right here, or maybe up against the lawn or something for you.
Nope, you gotta bring it back here. If you're not gonna bring it back here, then don't deliver it.
Okay, then no problem. I'll just tell them to stop wrapping it up then.
Yeah, and that's where the whole attitude of the customer changed.
Right.
In my experience, that right there is normally the turning point where we were close enough to the shipping location that yeah, it would have took a little bit extra time, but it sure beat arguing with the customer. So yeah, let's continue.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's jump back in.
Hey, Peterson. He wants it in the back, but we don't have 16 feet of space to get it back there. So he said, just bring it back.
All right. So just like that, you tell Peterson. He says, "All right." He starts wrapping it up, and then as we're about to see, something interesting happens, and we're going to discuss that in a second.
All right, bud. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll let.
Who do you contact with? Who's your contact?
For what?
For this delivery.
So it's on the contract it says it's a curbside delivery. Obviously, we're bringing it beyond curbside, and anything beyond curbside is driver discretion. And I'm letting you know, between the two trees, it's not going to fit because it comes off like wings on an airplane. So it's a site restriction. And then if we were to try to bring it that way, our tires are going to sink right in your lawn.
All right, so just cut to another scene. So, as you told the gentleman, it's curbside delivery. Anything beyond is driver's discretion, which is a common phrase we hear throughout your videos with more confrontational or hostile customers. It's important for people to remember that when they watch our videos because, there's a lot of comments saying you could have done this, this, and this. But what people don't understand is what you just said is anything beyond curbside is driver's discretion. But yeah, so the scene changed. I think this gentleman is about to change his mind if he hasn't already. But I just want to make a quick note of that. People ask a lot of questions regarding that specifically. So let's continue a bit more and then we'll discuss what's about to happen.
So the forklift is 8.5 feet wide by itself, and then the boards are 16. So I'll hold one side if you want. But so what I'm thinking, the forklift is going to come right here just so that you can measure it out. So 8.5 feet from maybe an inch or two from that stone, and like an inch or two from there.
8.5 feet?
Yep, 8.5 feet. What do you got there? I see, what, 5?
There's 9 feet to there.
Yep. And then, but you got to remember that the decking overhangs 16 feet. So you need 4 feet past that. So I'm going to do 4 feet past the tree. 3, 4. That's 4 right there.
Okay, so if we got...
Huh? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So you have 4 foot.
All right, well, before we continue the scene, it's probably a good time to stop and analyze it.
Smile on my face. Sorry.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to review this and probably pull up a couple of comments because a lot of you who watched the original video tended to comment at this part. One thing right off the bat that we noticed is the gentleman holding the tape measure. He measures where the stone retaining wall is instead of all the way to the furthest extruding point on the house, which would be the chimney there.
Yep.
And a lot of you pointed that out. So I guess we'll take the time now. We'll analyze it first. We'll discuss what was going on. And then we're going to pull up some comments, which will be included on the screen. And we'll discuss and react to the comments. But right off the bat.
Full disclosure, I can't see the comments for the viewers watching unless the editor puts them on screen. So if he's reading them and it looks like I just have a blank face, it's because I'm really trying to pinpoint what he's saying. So, or like listen to what he's saying. So full disclosure.
Right. So yeah, I'm going to read some comments. I'll shout out who it's from and what they say. So let me find a comment pertaining to this specifically. Let's see here. There's a whole bunch that we picked out. Comments that you guys made. Let's just see. All right, so here we go. So we have one comment from Sal A that says, so the guy can't use a tape measure to figure this out, and he expects to be able to build a deck. Haha, too funny. I would just leave it in the driveway. So yeah, this goes back to, doing your discretion, ignoring the whole curbside thing and trying to accommodate. But yeah, this is a pretty funny comment. But let's see if we have any more. Here we go. All right, here's one from MLT. I like the part where the old guy ran the tape measure across the ground and then up the tree in an L shape and said, I have 16 feet right here, even though it wasn't a straight line.
Yeah. That is the most amusing to me. Like, I did happen to read a comment in my own time where someone said that we have the most, we have the worst customer service because how dare we not show up, cut this guy's trees down, and then build the deck for him when we were done. How the audacity of us.
Right. That actually leads into another comment I'm reading here. This one is from Motley Tech, and it says, that's actually basically what you just said. He said, actually, you can fit all this through 8 feet of space. With enough power and force, anything is possible. Sure, the house will be demolished, but it will be out of the way so you can build the deck first. That's using the old noodle.
Yeah, there you go.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, I think we got to add an emphasis to the old noodle.
The old noodle?
Yeah, the old noodle. Definitely, we got to emphasize on that.
Right, and I'll go into one more comment, and then we'll jump right back into it. This one is from Albo Alt, and he says, or whoever, he, she, whatever. He says, I'm the customer, I'm paying you. You should be able to bend the laws of space and time to accommodate my ridiculous demands.
Yeah, that's
okay. That's pretty funny. You guys crack us up. We always read the comments, we try to respond to as many as we can, but we always love seeing what you guys have for us. With those comments said, let's jump back in and see what else this guy can come up with on how to try to fit it through the space.
Yeah. I like how you just
so you gotta measure
it.
yeah, and as you see, he's still not measuring it from the most protruding point, which is again the chimney.
Yeah.
From the most protruding part of your house, which is that fireplace or whatever that is.
There's no issues there.
Okay. He just said no issues there. I don't understand what he meant by that, but
so you probably missed it. So he's probably counting the leaves and then counting the width of the leaves because it all has everything to do with this material fitting down to the back of his house. If you don't, you have to take everything. What? I'm surprised he's not out there with a molecule measurer and making sure we have enough dark matter in the area to make sure it can fit. So he's
Right.
measuring the dang leaves on the side of his house, and he might have measured the gnome too. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell once we added the blur where he was looking, but it looks like there's a little gnome next to his fireplace or chimney or whatever that is.
Right, right. And on a more serious note, at the end of the day, this whole thing with you trying to accommodate and you're being very patient with this gentleman. Ultimately, this gentleman is taking time that you don't really have to deal with this because you have other deliveries and stuff like that. You know, you like to get your work done for the day. So another important thing to know is your patience with this gentleman, your willingness to accommodate with the time, because this video is, I think it's about 20 minutes long. And overall, I mean, the raw footage is probably about 30, 35. So that's a half hour that you're taking out of your schedule to help this gentleman get his product where he wants it. At the same time, 30 minutes is a long time for you to not be on the road because generally most deliveries average about, a few minutes. Like you're very quick with it. So it's very important to note that, the lengths you're willing to go to accommodate and to do the most you can. But let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Okay.
Yeah, hold this.
I mean, we can try it, but I'm just letting you know if it. Hang on, 1 second. There you go. Here, you want me to take a look at it?
So we had 13. We had 13 to here.
Yeah. So it's 16.
If you lift the fork up to here. Yeah, it was 16. It was 16 to here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, that's cutting it close. But what I'm saying is, if we can't get it through, we're gonna just drop it right there. So I'm just letting you know. If we're gonna try it and it doesn't fit, and the driver attempts it and it doesn't fit, we're gonna leave it right there. Because our job is to our contract literally says it's a curbside delivery.
yeah, and how
So
many houses do you have you actually deliver on the curb?
very, very little, very little. So that's why we're accommodating to bring it down here for you. So that's what I'm saying. We do the best that we can with the site restrictions. We understand not everybody.
You can get it through here.
You want us to try it?
Yeah.
So if we can't get it through, we're gonna leave it right there. So I just want to make sure.
Well, you got to get it through here.
But that's what I'm
You
saying.
have to be like a little off center on the load on the fork.
Yeah, but we can't risk hitting the house, and we can't risk damaging the material. So if we can't get it through, we're gonna leave it right there for you. And you would call the store, schedule a pickup for another day.
All right, let's see what happens.
Okay, so this is a pretty critical scene. This is pretty much the most critical scene in the whole video. So what happens here is the first thing is this gentleman is measuring from the second tree at the back of his truck here. When that's not even a valid factor because you have the first tree right there, which is it's closer to the house than the second tree.
Yeah,
And then number
still didn't
two,
even offer a solution for it.
right, and then number two. So once you realize that, he goes on to ask you, how many houses do you actually deliver curbside? And you said not very many. We always try to accommodate, which is very true. And I think this gentleman is still misunderstanding why you can't bring it through. And that leads me to the third thing, is he says, you can get it through if you lift it up, number one. And then number two, he says, it's going to fit. Or not, it's not going to, well, he says that. But then he also says,
It's got
it'll have the load. Right. Well, and the load will have to be a little bit off center. Now, what could happen potentially if you have a heavy off center load on the forks? And then can you just maybe say what you were thinking during this and stuff like that? Would be good.
My initial thought was we have a guy who's fresh out of school that has little to no training. That's number one. Number two, I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying my hardest not to laugh at the new sheriff in town. Hands on the hips. Hands on the hips of the old man. It's very distracting.
The
Let me
classic homeowner stance.
let me pull up my camera so I can look at myself and I can take myself a little more serious.
Right, and while you're doing that, I just thought of one more thing. So another point that's made is you agreed with him to leave it at the edge of the driveway here if it could not fit. That's another thing. So the homeowner or the customer, whoever this guy is, he agreed to that, which I don't think it got to that point in the video quite yet, but it will in like the next few seconds. So that's an agreement between you and the customer. The customer still thinks it's going to fit. Obviously, we all know it won't, but it's important to note that you guys made an agreement to try it. Like I said before, you're still taking time out of your busy schedule to do this. However, you are willing to even try it despite knowing it will not fit. But let's hear your thoughts and opinions on this specific scene.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I got this guy fresh out of school, little to no experience, and then um, i- is this really a delivery scenario or situation that I need to have my driver get accustomed to? Because it's like this was a prime example of an unreasonable customer not really understanding the laws and the natures of physics to really understand how reading the comments, some people are like, oh, you could just swing in and then swing the machine again and then swing it again and side shift. And it's like we don't get paid for any of that. To like we don't get paid to leave the material exactly where the customer wants it. We get paid to leave the material curbside. Anything beyond curbside is driver discretion. But watching the video, if you look at how many different factors and variables there are with what could go wrong, and some people are like, "Oh, if you damage anything, you should be fired." This that. So why risk it? Why? We don't
Right.
get paid anything extra for the extra effort. We don't. Our machine does not crab walk. No, we're not going to back the trailer down because the entire trailer would take up the whole width of that spot. And how are we gonna get the Moffat off the back and around to the side to offload it? That makes no sense. Like the logic of some of the comments just doesn't make any sense. But going back to the video, it's like watching it. This guy clearly he's just desperate times calls for desperate measures, trying to say anything to me to make me feel more comfortable about attempting the situation, which had he would have just let us do our thing to begin with, he would have saw a lot quicker that his thought process of how it should go is not how it would have went. So
Well, I'm definitely on the side of all the commenters saying that you were entirely too patient. And I definitely would have had that material down there and just made him.
I think a lot of that stems from people. People say that my customer service skills aren't what they should be, and that I don't take the time to accommodate the customers. When in reality, I don't get paid. We don't get paid an hourly rate to really sit there and problem solve issues for every single customer. Now, people don't really realize is that this isn't just one delivery that we do all day. Like we have multiple different pickup locations and then sometimes as few as 1 to 2 deliveries for the day to as many as 15 to 16 deliveries all across the state of Connecticut, parts of Rhode Island, and parts of Massachusetts. And we have to be parked at our domicile before the 14 hours is up. And if I don't get paid by the hour, I get paid by the drop. Why wouldn't I want to? Why wouldn't I want to save some daylight so I could go home and spend a decent amount of time with family before bedtime? You know, like I'm not
Right.
I'm not getting paid to problem solve and troubleshoot every single customer's issue. You know, the contract says it's a curbside delivery for a reason. That's because we don't know what the job site looks like until we show up. And this is exactly why we start recording before we get to the delivery, because some people thought the show was scripted.
Right. Right. And it's also important to note that some of your travel times in between locations can be 1 to 2 hours long. And
Yep.
considering you have multiple deliveries and such and stuff like that, it could be a lot of travel time. But let's get into the next point. The next point is one of his suggestions is to put the load offset on the forks. Now, so it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out where it would be off balance and it could tip the whole moffat over and cause a huge liability and damage and all this other stuff.
So because Trex, it can be heavy. Offsetting it really wouldn't tip the moffat over as much as putting the material more at risk of, sliding off the forks one way or the other. So, if you were to pay attention to his yard, it's not the most even grade. So if I were to hit, like, let's say if I have it more picked up on let's say if I have the load more so on the left, so that way I can swing right, and let's say I hit one of those stones in front of the tree when we first got down there, and it pops up the right side of the moffat, the load can shift sideways and slide off the fork sideways and right into the house and possibly kill grandma. And that's not what we're here to do.
Right.
we let Santa's reindeers take care of that. So
Right. Right. But all right, those are all good points. Let's see what other kind of shenanigans we can get into.
I'm sorry. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I can't hear you.
See what we have on the other side of the house.
Yeah, well, we'll damage your lawn if we drive across that. That machine will rip it up, and we don't drive across lawn. So we'll try there because there's nothing there really.
Alright.
So we just want to minimize liabilities and minimize hitting your beautiful home. All right. Let me go talk with Peterson about the game plan. You want to turn the truck off real quick? What's all this water?
I have water. I was cleaning my hands. So the water.
Okay, so now you're just dirtying my freshly clean truck. All right, so this
All right,
is the
pause it
situation.
right
So
there, 'cause I
basically,
want to address some of the comments.
Pause at an interesting time.
Yeah, so people were talking smack that I was nitpicking the trainee about water being on the outside of my truck. I would say either the day before this video or a couple days before this video, I had just paid $500 to have the entire truck cleaned inside and out. And we were expecting beautiful weather for a while. And
Right.
So having the inside and the outside of the truck cleaned and washed, I was a little bit surprised as to why there was dirty water on the outside of my truck, or where was this water coming from. So it's not really I was being hard on the trainee, but it was I just paid $500 to have the truck washed. So why is there dirty water on the side of my truck? Like, my thing is, if you want to wash your hands, it's 2 steps, 3 steps to get out the truck and wash your hands, as opposed to washing dirty water on the outside of my vehicle. That's all that was. It wasn't really me giving him a hard time, but it's just like, why? Why is there water on the outside of my truck when I just paid to have it washed? So
Making him a little bit more aware of his, actions and stuff like that too.
yeah.
But that's a good point, though. I think we get into a funny scene here, but let's see. Let's continue on.
I told the guy, I said, it's probably not gonna fit between that tree and the house, because I'm looking at it, and the Moffat's 8.5 feet wide, so from brick to tree, it's just 8 feet, barely. And I'm like, you need 16 feet of space to get through there. So if you're going in straight, you don't have 4 feet past the tree to get it there. And I just showed him that.
Yeah.
So I told him, if it doesn't fit, we're just going to leave it right at the end of the driveway, and he could just call the store and schedule a pickup.
Yeah.
And he was just like, out of all the deliveries that you have, how many do you leave actually curbside, And I said, very little. I said, we do our best to accommodate every customer, Because once I told him we were going to wrap it up, and once I gave you the signal to just wrap it up and let's go, he was just like, well, now, wait a minute. So, yeah, I told him, we do our best at every single delivery. We try, It's not our fault that you don't have the space. He was like, well, I got to get back there. Okay. We'll try our best. That's all we can do. We try to accommodate every single customer.
All right, this isn't really anything that needs to be explained, but a quick PSA to everybody watching this video. So these guys are on the side of the road. Traffic is kind of busy. It's very important to highlight the whole slow down and move over thing, because these guys are just trying to get their job done. Same with tow truck drivers, policemen, firefighters, and everybody else that works out on the roads, DOT. It's very important to slow down and move over, because as you saw, one of the cars, they got a whole lane on the other side that they could be in, yet one of the cars still chooses to be more towards the middle, which is a liability, and it's the danger zone. But I just wanted to touch on that quick. It's, make sure you slow down and move over for everybody on the side of the road, whether it's just a civilian, it's workers like Mike and Peterson here, or firefighters, or what have you. But with that said, just quick PSA. Let's continue. They're making the game plan and they're about to execute. So let's check this out.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Oh, when you said that, it reminded me of that Casey and the Sunshine Band. There was once a funky singer.
So that song was actually by Wild Cherry. I screwed up. That was my bad. And I forgot to let Noah know. Noah's a little bit younger. I should have told him that when he was editing this video, to add that note. And I saw that you guys lit me up in the comment section. I'm sorry, forgive me, but it's definitely by a band called Wild Cherry.
You know what? Speaking of Wild Cherry, we have a comment that touches on that. Let me just pull it up real quick right before we jump back in. That was a good comment. All right, it's on my phone. Let me just pull this up. This was a good comment. Let's see.
And actually, I'll point out while you're looking that up, if you guys look where he has his Bronco parked, look how nice and how green his grass is. Just from their comparison to his neighbor's lawn. And he wanted us to attempt to drive the Moffat with the material across that nice lawn and leave ruts in it that he would have probably called Home Depot and complained about us doing so, and wanting us to come out and either rake it out or get a lawn care specialist to come out and fix it on our dime.
Right. And it's actually kind of hard to see, but if you look closely, it almost looked like the Bronco tires sank in a bit, and you could tell from other areas on the lawn that maybe the lawn isn't the most firm ground at the moment, and it probably has a lot of moisture, which would, like you said, would add to the damage effect. But
Yep.
I'm going to read this comment real quick. This one is from Richard Kearns. This is a pretty good one. This is pretty unique. He says he's cranky because he bought one of the new Ford Broncos and they've had a ton of problems with them. He's cranky because it's a hot day. He's cranky because his wife's nickname is Wild Cherry, which ties into what you just said with the song. He's cranky because he didn't bring a chainsaw to cut those trees down. He's cranky because he's cranky. And then he says, nice trying customer fulfillment. Thank you for the comment, Richard.
We appreciate
But is there anything you want to address with that, or should we continue, Mike?
Nah, we'll just continue on. The comment speaks for itself.
All right, we're halfway through the video. We might have to make this 2 parts.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
And in the rock and roll band. What you know about that? And there was this and singing, he grooving through the music. He just went and hit me. Somebody turn around and started playing the fucking music. Why? Why? Play the fucking music, why, boy? Play that a boogie, play that boogie music till you die. Till you die. Oh, till you die. So yeah.
All right, that's pretty funny. Probably a good time to announce you're going for a singing career, right?
Yeah, yep. I've been called the songwriter of my generation. They said I have the voice of Fergie and Jesus, so stay tuned for the mixtape.
All right, let's
we
see.
have a comment from a viewer regarding that reference you just made there.
Oh yeah, what was that? What's that comment?
It was from Evidization.
Okay.
It's so cool that John C. Reilly got into the delivery business after making all those movies.
Okay, as the editor, Mike gets called all kinds of stuff. John C. Reilly, DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, you name it. That to me is hilarious.
Wreck-It Ralph is John C. Reilly, you uncultured swine.
Yeah.
But he just said I've been called a bunch of different names, but it's like Wreck-It Ralph is a character, so I've also been called Dale from Step Brothers or Cal from Talladega Nights. Yes, I understand it's all John C. Reilly, but these are all different fictional characters.
All right, what do you hate more, being called John C. Reilly or being called DJ Khaled? What do you think is?
I think when I listen to myself, I don't really hear John C. Reilly. But Nicole, being a John C. Reilly fan, she's told me that once I mention it to her, that now she can't unhear it. So I guess that speaks for itself. But DJ Khaled, I guess, I guess so. I can kind of see it, but not really. I guess, but not really. So I take more offense to the DJ Khaled one than I do the John C. Reilly one because I don't really listen to DJ Khaled like I used to back in the day. But John C. Reilly, I think he's so funny.
Yeah, on that note, I don't think any of us listen to DJ Khaled the way we used to back in the day.
No, I don't know what back in the day is like, but you guys certainly do.
Oh no, you were in diapers. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Noah was still definitely Noah was still on his umbilical cord outside the womb when Khaled was a thing.
Right.
Moving on.
Right, for those of you, real quick, for those of you who don't know, I am 22, so yeah, I do not get a lot of these pop culture references because I ain't up there in age, but let's keep it moving. This is pretty funny.
I thought I forgot something when you.
Nah. Yeah. Yeah. No. Leave that in. I got this. Leave that in. Because you gotta remember, you gotta signal to the cars behind you. There you go.
skip ahead a little bit to when he's on the Moffat and bringing it over. This is just unstrapping. I think I'll just skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, get a full grab on it. Yeah, you good. Going straight.
All right.
Now that was pretty insane. The tire just came up on the Moffat.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty,
we have two ways of doing things. We have the safe and less efficient way, and then we have the more efficient way but not so safe. So what he just did was the more efficient but not so safe, which is unfortunately when you're out there, you don't really have, and this kind of stems into the comments where people are like, "Oh, you guys are being, you're being too hard on the trainee." Actually, the predicaments and the places that we go are going to test him more than anything that I'm going to do to him or for him. So, whereas a lot of times these cars, they don't stop. They don't stop for us. They don't stop for anybody. Same thing with certain trucks. So,
right.
what he just did was he picked up the load and he's attempting to get the load centered on the Moffat and all the way pulled back without using the stabilizers, because when you add the stabilizers into the mix, all it does is it, number one, it immobilizes the machine, because on the back of the machine we don't have a counterweight. So once you put the stabilizers down, there are these two hydraulic legs that come out the front and apply downward force to make sure that the back tire does not come up off the ground. But that can be dangerous, because if, let's say, you're on like a blind curve or you're on a hill, and if you immobilize your machine and you need to be able to get off the road really quick, then you need to be able to get those the Moffat stabilizers up and off the ground, and that's one more thing that you have to worry about. And as a new driver, if you're sitting there, punching the gas and you're wondering why your machine isn't moving, it's because the front wheels aren't making contact with the ground, because the stabilizers are immobilizing the machine. So that's what he did there. I would have probably done the same thing in his predicament, to be honest with you. Especially being on a road like that. Not whereas it's like a blind curve or a hill, but just you got people that probably aren't gonna stop, never mind slow down. And he actually got lucky, because I was there, that I'm able to put my body as a real life moving a traffic cone, or someone that can direct traffic. That's why I kept communication with him, that I said, once you pick that up, I'm going to let this guy go. And I said, oh, never mind. This guy has just stopped. So.
Right. And you both are wearing high visibility shirts too. Just important to note too, for better visibility. But we're coming up on actually a really interesting scene. It's coming up in probably about 20 seconds or so. Let's check this out.
Oh, you're good. Just back it up towards me. Don't turn until you get to the end of the driveway. You're good. Back down. Bring it lower.
Can you pause it right here for a second?
Yep.
Back it up just a smidge. Right there, perfect. Now, I did see in the comment section on my own time that some people, they were complaining about how the material was stacked. They said, why would you stack the pressure treated lumber on the bottom and the decking on top when the customer is going to need the pressure treated lumber before he's going to need the decking to build the deck? And I can
Right.
give you a professional response to that, and then I can give you a nonchalant response to that. And here goes both. The professional response is that we, the delivery drivers, don't really have a say on how they stack it or how they prep the product. The product is supposed to be prepped prior to us arriving, not when we're ready to leave. That's number one. And the nonchalant answer was, you just saw this man run a tape measure up a tree. Do you really think he's got it all figured out? Yeah. So I think this whole thing is just a learning curve for him as well. So I mean, we don't have any control of how they stack it, but to us, it makes more sense to have the more rigid material on the bottom to prevent flex.
Exactly. That's what I was just thinking. If you've ever watched a decking delivery, that decking droops down. It actually makes the most sense to put it on top of the pressure treated wood and add stability to it.
Yep. So, I mean, yes, it's a little bit more inconveniencing for the customer, but in this case, the customer is not doing the easiest job of conveniencing himself by, chasing some numbers up the side of a leaning tree. So,
Right.
Seems like it's a multiverse of things going on. But yeah, continue.
All right, we're about to pause again, but let's get into it.
Huh? Thank you. Here's a personalized business card for you, sir. Yeah, I appreciate you, sir.
Shout out
Thank
to that
you. Have a
fan
great
right
day.
there. Shout out to that fan.
Yep, for sure.
It wasn't until it probably wasn't until if I had to guess, 3 to 4 months since we got our contract canceled that we started getting recognized, which is really cool. Number one, but it's also kind of dangerous because whereas we get it, like we love the fans, we love to interact with you guys, but we actually have another delivery video where I had some decking stuck on top of some pellet fuel, and the gentleman's name is Dino. Shout out to Dino if you're watching this. But he came up as I'm in, saving civilian lives mode. Like I got all my concentration and all of my safety skills being honed in on, and then he comes and wants to say, that he loves the channel, this, that, and the third. And yes, we get it, we love it, we love you guys, but there's some times where it is not the time or it is not the place. So it's because what we do, even though here with the new guy, that is a different type of safety issue, because not only am I watching for all his surroundings, but I also need to pay close attention to the guy that I'm training to make sure that he is paying attention to what he is doing. But also certain delivery situations put us in predicaments, whereas if we lose our focus, or if our attention gets pulled elsewhere, even for the slightest split second, it could mean life or death. It could cause an accident. It could cause an issue. That's why when we're out there doing our thing, it's best that you just give us space. If you want to wait around till after the delivery to spark up conversation or whatever, uh, we don't mind that as well, as long as we're not on a time crunch to go places. Um, but yeah, shout out to the fan in this video. I never caught his name. He might have texted me, might have not. But every now and then I do get texts from random numbers. Uh, Probably people that I've given my business card to, and they keep their identities anonymous. But I know just based off of how they greet me or how they talk in the text message that I know that they're fans of the channel. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to the fan in this segment.
We had a viewer comment on this too. JC said, "Wow, somebody recognized you and stopped. That says a lot about how you carry yourself and how you represent your business on here. Nice job."
Well said.
JC.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's continue on.
No, we're gonna try to get it through the house and the tree. I don't think it's gonna fit, but if you can make it, you can make it. You're a miracle man. Peterson the Miracle Man. Got a nice ring to it, don't it? Just go wide when you swing. There you go, swing it. All right, watch that truck. That truck on your right. Go ahead, swing it in. Now, you want to take a step back, bud?
What's that?
You want to take a step back? So give him a little space to work.
Love how you just stands right in the way.
Yeah, gentle reminders to just stand clear.
I think you should go forward. Because you're not going to have no space to turn around. So wiggle all the way over so that your tires can fit through the lane. Which, yeah. Huh? Knew enough that he knows that it wasn't going to fit either.
All right. We have to stop here and discuss this.
I listen. For those people who don't know, I grew up in the not best of neighborhoods, and back in my day, growing up, we had some really mean kids that could say some really mean things. So if you weren't quick on your toes with a comeback, it almost like counted against your street cred. So it's like someone could say something like, "Yo, man, you ugly," and then you could be like, "Not as ugly as the giraffe of a mama you got," and then everybody's like, "Oh," So I think comebacks and being witty is a very it's a very underrated and underappreciated form of communication now, because there are times where my team, they bust my chops, and sometimes I think that me talking to my team, I'm in a safe zone, and Nicole especially, she's a savage. She says some stuff out of left field sometimes that I'm just like, I don't know what to say, and then she's like, "Sounds like I hurt your feelings," and I'm like, "Yeah, you kind of did, dude. Like, I didn't even finish a cup of coffee yet, and you're already like, you're criticizing me about something."
I'm the
like,
clapback
"Oh."
queen, so.
Yeah, it's like I have no comeback sometimes. So, but out there in the field, you got to be ready for anything and everything. So, including not the most professional or not the most cleanest cut of or cut and dry deliveries. You got to be ready for customer and contractor banter. So that's why I was pretty quick with the comeback. this guy's facing the other way. That's why I really couldn't hear him the first time. But yeah, I did see a lot of people in the comment section losing their mind about that comment that I made.
Right. Nicole actually just sent me a comment. I'll read it quick. This one is from The Man. And he says, knew enough that he knew it wasn't going to fit either with laughing faces. He said, bro, I was dying and it went right over his head. I love your videos, man. So shout out to you, The Man.
Yep. Shout out to The Man.
But, all right. Well, let's see what other comedic responses we can find in this video.
Hey, get closer. Turn it. Yeah, that's not gonna fit. Yeah, it's not gonna fit.
All right, so I'm stopping again here, but so we're trying to fit the lumber. We've got maybe a foot of space on the left here between the tree. The customer is saying to raise the load. However, what he doesn't realize is the tree closest to the moffett goes up and it leans to the right a bit. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I mean, raising it would give even less clearance, which he doesn't realize. But I guess let's keep it going.
It's too wide. So remember, I measured 4 feet past the tree.
Okay, you got to, okay, go back. I'll have you put it on my trailer. I'll be right back with the trailer.
All right, we're gonna just set it down because we're not allowed to put it on trailers. If the trailer can't hold the weight and we break something, we're responsible for that.
You're not going to break this trailer. I want you to put, I don't want to carry those 100 pieces back.
All right, well, all right, just set it down. Just swing it in. So where do you want us to leave it? Here, on the edge there?
Why can't you put it on my damn trailer?
Because that's not what we do, sir. Our job is to literally leave it on the ground. We don't work. We break something on that trailer, we're responsible to fix it and pay for it. The agreement was we would attempt it, and then if it doesn't fit, we're gonna leave it right here. And you said okay. That's what the agreement was. So now we can swing it for you to leave it long ways so that you could just slide the boards off. Instead of leaving it like that, we can do that for you. Would you like that? We can turn the whole load so that the load is this way, so you could just pick up the board and slide it. Because remember, when I measured it, I was 4 feet past the tree. So you want us to swing it for you? So that way you could just slide the boards instead of picking them up and then turning them yourself?
No, just bring it right up. Just bring it right up.
Okay. Yeah, just bring it in flat, he said.
All right, so I mean, this is quite the turn of events.
We offered this man every single solution, and holy crap, look how wet the back of his shirt is.
It's a hard job trying to fit lumber through space where it can't fit.
Yeah, and especially since he's just standing there directing. Yeah, seems legit.
So he actually got a little bit hostile there.
Yeah, well, we had a fan kind of sum it up best. Mike said, "It's sad. Signs of moderate dementia are observed. The man is borderline senile, and it is sad. We should have a little sympathy for this guy, I think."
We're kind of trying to tread lightly here. At the end of the day, we do not know what this gentleman's medical conditions are or what may be going on. We can only
take everything at face value. So the way we see it, if you have the competence enough to place a delivery, and you want to ridicule us and judge us based on our driving performance, after we given you every single opportunity to make an agreement that we're the professionals and that what you're requesting can't be done, then you know what, at the same token, to piggyback off of what Noah said, we have no idea what your mental capacity is. We're not here to judge, the customers for that. But when you go and ask how new is my guy, and I say new enough, he knew it wasn't gonna fit either. That should have told you right then and there that we know what we're talking about. And even though even though it's been said many a times in the comment, you can't fit a square through a round hole. Like you can't fit a block through a square peg through a round peg's hole. So, I mean, and if you do, you're gonna need more force than what it's worth. So, this guy, it's like, yeah, we feel bad for him, but at the end of the day, it's like he was just better off just letting us do what we came to do. That's show up, do our jobs, and keep it pushing, rather than us sit there, bicker, argue, and try to reason with his way of thinking, because ultimately we didn't even have to bring it that far down the driveway. We could have left it at the top of his driveway or off on the lawn next to the bush on the left and not even dealt with it. And then he would have most likely called Home Depot, complained, and then I show my market manager or my ex market manager this video that the guy was being totally unreasonable, and then we're gonna end up having to go back and move it to the end of the driveway, which is where it took us 35 minutes to get there anyway. So it's
Right.
He could have just let us just show up, do our thing, and be gone with it, instead of questioning every single thing and then letting us humor him with his own measuring tape that somehow is supposed to defy the laws of physics, and making a fool out of himself. So,
And it's like you're a human. You're a fellow human being here, and it's like there's no reason to get hostile or raise your voice at your delivery drivers. Like from the start, Mike was very accommodating. He's even spending his own time, which he doesn't have to do this. As you guys heard, the homeowner was like, why can't you put it on my damn trailer? Kind of raise his voice a bit. It all comes down to respect. It's like we're humans too. We're YouTubers, but at the same time, we don't deserve to be treated that way. You know what I mean? It's like it goes both ways here. But there's another comment here that we want to read. This is pretty much our favorite that we decided. So shout out to Richard Anning. I think it's safe to say you won the best comment award. But let me read it. So he says, since this video was made, I still haven't been able to sleep. I keep wondering exactly what the trailer looked like that he wanted to put that huge load of lumber on. And, that's very true. I can't say I lost sleep over it, but that is hilarious. We're wondering too, man. We're wondering too.
yeah,
It's very funny.
yeah. Legend has it he's still trying to figure out how to make an extension for a John Deere trailer to hold all that lumber. I
Right.
mean, we literally have probably, if I had to guess, over 2,000 pounds worth of lumber
Right.
or material.
And chances are, it was probably like a 5 to 10 foot just like garden trailer that you put on a lawnmower. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Which would be hilarious if you brought it out. But
Yeah. And
But
with our luck, the trailer pulls around. It has a broken leaf spring on one side and it has a flat tire on the other. So
Right.
it's none of our business. We're not there to make sure that it goes exactly where the customer wants it. We do our best to accommodate, and at this point in the delivery, we're already a half an hour into the load. So let's
Right, and
wrap up this video because I'm sure we got some more good stuff for you guys.
Right, and one more quick thing is, if you guys notice, the homeowner totally changed his tune. He went from being defiant and not being unreasonable to now he's accepted his fate of them leaving the lumber where they leave the lumber, which is quite the interesting turn of events. But yeah, let's wrap it up. Let's finish this video out and let's continue.
Just turn your wheel to the right a little bit and then drive forward. Nope, your other right. There you go. Just drive forward.
That's what killed me.
Just try to get it
The other right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that's pretty funny. Let's keep going.
nice and flush. Keep going. Keep turning. Yep. How's that? All right, so you're gonna back up just a little bit. You gotta put your stabilizers down because the load is too heavy to extend. Yep, just back up. Right about there, that's good. Lock the brakes. Stabilizers all the way forward. Good. Thank you. All right, tilt it forward. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yep. And then double tap that left, second lever. Keep tap. There you go. There you go. Pick up. Pick up. No. There you go. You got it. All right. So pick up your stabilizers, and we're gonna give him the second paper, so that way he can just confirm everything is there, and he can just let the shipper know. Back up. Whoa. Back up. Yep, back up. There you go. Now pick up your stabilizers. Nope, pick them up. All right, pick up your forks. Good. All right, so he's gonna run back to the truck, grab the paperwork for you. I'll take the photo. Sorry, I think he was just a little, maybe misguided or misinformed about what we actually do. Is, we don't really know what's in the box. We're like the mailman. We don't read your letters to let you know what's in it. If it's a bill or it's a check, But anyway, guys, we do appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Hit that notification bell. Shout out to that fan that recognized us. We do appreciate you. If you're watching this video, leave it down in the comment section.
It's just, you've done your outro. I think it's probably a good point to stop and kind of summarize and just, touch base on anything that you guys can think of. So yeah, this was a very interesting video. It's always fun watching it again. It's fun to react to it.
Yeah.
But you guys got any?
To piggyback off of what you just said, it's fun to watch it again. It's fun to watch it, but imagine the amount of fun that you have to actually live it the first time.
I'm sensing a little bit of passive aggressiveness with that statement there, Mike.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys can imagine that we don't know what we're getting ourselves into prior to arrival. So every single delivery is going to be totally different. No two deliveries are going to be the same. Some have, 0 customer interactions. Some have minimal customer interactions, and some go, like there's times where I get phone calls, like, hey, do you remember what happened on such and such order? And I'm like, no, I don't. And then they're like, you don't remember this delivery that you did yesterday? And I'm like, unless something crazy out of the ordinary happened, I'm most likely not going to remember. Like, if you give me, like, the type of material that I delivered, like, we get general inquiries, but this is definitely one of the deliveries that made an impression. So, that, we can always refer back to. We refer back to it as the, confused, angry old man, or the confused old man, the one with the trees. It's I haven't seen this video
Right.
since it came out. So
Right. And I mean, do you want to do the outro, or do you have anything else? Because I don't have any other like final thoughts or anything like that.
Nicole, you
It's
have
a very
anything to
interesting
add?
video. She actually left the Discord.
What the heck? All right, well, that pretty much sums up this video. If you guys like this content and would like to see more, make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share our content. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers, and yeah, we appreciate all you guys watching. We plan on making some more of these videos, but if you guys want to see more of these videos, make sure you let us know down in the comment section. So without further ado, guys, we will see you guys on the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and be good, be safe. Later.